Hello, boys and girls. At this point, you should have watched the Legend of the Blue Bonnet read aloud video. So if you've not yet done that, please pause the video and go to that video first. After you've watched it, you're ready to look at the characteristics that are in this legend, the Legend of the Blue Bonnet. So again, just a reminder, the characteristics of a legend. You have to have a realistic setting from long ago, a hero with positive characteristics, a problem that the hero has to solve, sometimes caused by an anti-hero, truth about a real thing or place, elements of cultural life, mystical elements and hyperbole or exaggeration, a solution created by the hero, and a lesson that is learned by the characters. So let's look and see how these characteristics can be found in the Legend of the Blue Bonnet. All right. So firstly, the realistic setting. They mentioned a couple times in the story that this legend actually takes place in Texas long ago. So we have a very specific setting, and we know that it took place a long, long time ago. The hero, who's the hero in this story? Well, at the beginning of the story, she's called She Who Is Alone. And what are her positive characteristics? She's selfless, she's generous, she's loving, and she's also very wise, because as the other people in her village are kind of wondering to themselves, oh, they couldn't possibly want to have me sacrifice my belongings, she's the only one who's kind of sitting off by herself and thinking, I know what it is that I need to do. I know what I have to do for these people that are my own people that I love. What was the problem that she was trying to solve in the story? Well, there was a drought across the land, meaning none of their crops were growing anymore because the spirits, basically the spirits that that culture believes in, they were angry at the people. So the people that this is actually based on is the Comanche people. They mentioned that in the story, I think, one time. The Comanche was actually a Native American tribe, so they were native to Texas. That's why it's based in this Native American tribe. And the problem was that in that area, there was a drought, meaning nothing would grow anymore. So what was the truth about a real thing in this story? Well, the bluebonnet wildflower is a real flower that grows in Texas. So they're saying that the origin of this flower, or the very beginning of this flower, was this legend. And before that, the bluebonnet didn't grow, but after She Who Is Alone made the sacrifice for her people, every year since then, the bluebonnet wildflower has grown on the fields of Texas. What are some other characteristics here? Well, the elements of cultural life. There's a ton in this story. So one of them that is just shown right away is obviously all of the pictures in the story show all of the traditional dress of Native American tribes, specifically the Comanche people. And it also shows how they would name people. So She Who Is Alone, that's, a very long and specific name that they gave her, but it was kind of traditional for them to give those kinds of names to notable people in a tribe. And they also had a very firm belief in the spirits that they thought were very deeply connected to nature. So to anger the spirits, it makes a ton of sense that if they were angry, they would see that their crops were no longer growing, maybe that it wasn't raining anymore, because those spirits were deeply connected to nature. They were almost one and the same. So that's just another aspect of their culture that you see in this. Also other things in the setting, like the teepees, just the things that they make, like the hunter's bow, the doll, the description of the doll and all the different parts to it. Those are all actual materials that the Native American tribes would use to create different tools and even things like toys and dolls. What mystical elements were there in this story? Well, the magical spirits that brought drought upon the land and turned the ashes into flowers, that's kind of the mystical end of it, the magical end of it. What was the solution by our hero? She sacrificed her most prized possession for her people. That's how she solved the problem of the drought. She knew that if she were to sacrifice something that meant something to her, she could save her people. So that's how she solved that problem. What is the lesson that's learned here by the characters and by us? Well, you're supposed to learn to be selfless and loving for the greater good of all, because if the hero hadn't made her sacrifice, her people probably would not have made it. The drought would have gone on and people would have continued to get sick and die like she was describing in the beginning of the story. So that's the lesson learned from all this. So what are we going to do now? Well, you're going to keep watching my videos still because there's still one more legend that I'm going to ask you guys to watch the read aloud for and then watch my lesson for. And we're still going to find the characteristics of legends within that story and kind of start thinking how there's some similarities between these stories, not just between the setting and things like that, but all these different characteristics that we're pointing out when watching these stories. And then next week, we're really going to begin thinking about our own ideas for how to make a creation legend. So before then, just as after you watch this one final legend tomorrow, I'm going to ask you guys to do that Study Island kind of quick quiz just to check in and see where you're at in this. All right, please reach out to me if you have any questions, boys and girls. Thank you.